right. Good morning, everyone.
Hey, everyone. We're just getting up and running.
Yep.
Check all the socials.
YouTube's good. YouTube should be up. And InstaFace, I think's all good. Yep, I think we're good on everything. So.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the 034 Motorsports 0BS Q&A live chat session. I'm Javad Shadzi, and this is Nate Stewart. And we're here to answer all your questions about all things 034. Anything else you'd like to chat about? Sorry we missed you last week. We had some technical difficulties. Our camera broke just as we were trying to get things going. So apologies about that. And then I was out of town for the rest of the week. But we're back and ready to spend an hour with you. Let's see, go through all the rigmarole. We're here to answer substantive topical questions that we can respond to definitively. So that means we will deprioritize update questions about when something's going to be ready or when's the next thing in the future coming. We can't always give you a straight answer, so we will save those for the end of the hour, but we don't usually get those. Please don't get upset. We're not ignoring you. We're just trying to get to the questions that people are asking, which we really prioritize answering. We take a zero BS approach to responding, so our goal is to put out accurate, factual information whenever possible, and I think we have a good track record of that. You might not agree with what we say, but we truly believe that is the right answer, and I think we can support it if it came down to it. And I don't know, put your questions into the social media comments field of your choice and we can get going. So someone's asked, is piping worth the upgrade for stage one? How about the inlet to the throttle body?
What car?
Yeah, we don't know what car here. If you want to do a quick follow-up or if we want to ask, it'd be good to know which car. I can answer in general. The intercooler piping's not as big of a gain. In some cases, it may be hard to measure. But the turbo inlets can be very restrictive. So this is where air flows from the air box into the turbo inlet. These connections are under vacuum. And the more vacuum there is, the more restriction there would be. When the piping's under boost, it's not as much of an issue because the turbo can force air through even relatively restrictive piping. You can be shocked at how well pressurized air can flow through restrictive and small piping. But on the inlet side, there's really no room for error. So the more restriction there is, the less air will flow because it's not getting any help at all. So on virtually all the applications, 2-liter turbo, 3-liter turbo, 2.9T, the inlets do make quite a big difference. Same with like DAZA, TTRS 2.5T, all that stuff.
Yeah, DAZA in particular really benefited from the turbo inlet pipings on the inlet side.
That was big on.
That was a big one on those. They were very small, pretty restrictive elbow down into the turbo. So yeah, that was one big source of improvement even stage one could gain from.
Why don't we put number 3 down to the end of the.
Yeah.
It's from last week, and we don't know if those people are actually here or not.
Yep.
It's from our post.
Oh.
Yeah, I posed a question asking like.
Oh, so they're current?
That was from the postponed post last week.
So people responded with questions they wanted.
I know, but we don't know if those people are here.
Yeah, we'll try and hit on them.
Yeah, one of them is.
Okay, well, let me know. Definitely, if someone we want to prioritize answering the questions of people who are watching right now.
I'll move it there.
Yeah. Okay. 8VS3 recommended brake pads for your 2-piece rotors. Very aggressive street driver on 300 treadwear tires.
8VS3.
8VS3. We don't have pads for that, right?
No. Mm-hmm.
It depends. Pads on the street aren't, as usually as much of an issue because you just really can't accelerate and brake that many times in a row on the street. I would say that our our Dynamic Plus pads would be great on the street. They're designed for aggressive street driving. I'm trying to think. I don't know. What do you think? Is there a particular?
I'm trying to think of what's available in that
recommend?
profile. I mean, there's all the
I would say
various-
like the Hawk HPS. Is
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
good.
my first question is like, are you exceeding what your current pads are doing? For one,
That's a
like,
good
is
question.
it really even like, are you looking for something different out of what your current pads are doing? Because yeah, on the street, yeah, some people's aggressive driving on the street still may not be getting past the thermal limits of your current setup. So, yeah, what are you looking for out of the new one or a different setup? Also, keep in mind that almost any more aggressive or raunchier pad is going to have a trade-off of a lot more dust. It just kind of comes with the territory with more and more aggressive pads, and that can be less desired on a street setup. So,
Yeah, I really don't think there's a ton to gain on the street. The pads that we came out with are finely balanced for the street. You know, to kind of ride those compromises Nate's talking about.
Yeah.
So they're dustier, but not too dusty. They're going to be noisier, but not too much more noisy.
yeah, and you usually shift the initial like the feel of the pad. It'll feel less aggressive while it's cold, and it has to get up to a certain temperature, and then it'll start being more responsive. So there's usually it's all these trade-offs you got to balance and kind of decide what you're really looking for in a brake pad.
Yeah.
No free lunch.
Eventually, we'll come out with our pads for those. They're really nice on the street. Do you want to do number 2, or is that kind of a
Number 2?
that's like kind of an update?
It's kind of a coming soon thing. So yeah, that's. I don't know if I want to quite talk to that.
Okay, let's skip that then.
That is in the works.
Stage 1 B9 SQ5 in neutral. Sometimes it pops off. Sometimes it doesn't. Any reason other
Pops
than
off. I'm assuming
that's-
get some crackles. Usually, it would be a heat related thing. There are a number of they call them abuse timers in there. If you're just sitting there revving the thing and being a hooligan in the parking lot, it can time out on that. But usually it's an EGT related, or engine's too cold if it's right off startup, something like that. But generally it's a thermal constraint.
Yeah.
If it's repeatable, if it's a specific thing, and you think it's not right, let us know. We can we can capture some logs of that. But yeah, usually it's temperature related.
B8.5 S5 I'm on an APR 2+ tune. How much we looking at switching, and will I have better shifting time? Yeah, I can say that you will be happier with every part of the tune by switching.
Mm-hmm.
Better shifting, faster shifting, more power,
More maps, more options, more features.
a lot more features and functionality. Very very proven high performance tune that we've had on the market for a while, with many updates and improvements.
You can log it, flash it, do all that from your smartphone, tablet, iPad, or laptop. You name it.
Yeah, so we do have a 25% switching discount that we'd love to offer you. If you want to hit us up at sales@034motorsport.com, we can send you a quote on the cost of switching with your discount applied, and we'd love to have you.
But yeah, and as you were asking about shifting times on there, yes, we have, I think, bar none, the fastest shifting, most consistent shifting DL501 calibrations out there.
And combined with smooth drivability, smooth throttle response, just overall drivability and performance, really well balanced on our tunes. B9 SQ5, would you choose a proper stance or tuning first? Springs, inserts, end links, and sway bars, or stage 2 out the gate? Depends what you're looking for. If you feel like you need a lot more acceleration in your life, then you're going to want to go that route. If you feel like there's not a lot of places for you to go faster, but you want to enjoy the turns and corners that you do drive on, There's no right answer there.
I will say also, like, I would stage 1 out the gate, not even bother like worrying about stage 2. Get stage 1 optimized with intercooler, intake, and tune, and you know, if you've got E85, a fuel pump as well.
Yeah,
and get on the 1 Plus setup, you'll be in good shape.
I totally agree with that. I would say if you want to do something in a B9 SQ5, I would start with our swaybars.
Yeah, I think as far as like you turn a wrench and then the next day you get to feel the difference, that's going to be the biggest. Biggest reward.
But now you can do either. I know on you know my Q7, we didn't have tuning for that for a long time, and so we did all the suspension stuff on it. And even though the car had stock power, it was so much more fun to drive with all of our handling parts on it. So conversely, if I had to drive the car with stock suspension and the power it has now, I would not be happy either. So it's something you want to eventually do both of. But yeah, it's just really up to you. Maybe ChatGPT will tell you what you want to hear.
Great.
Will there be burbles, crackles with just an X pipe or an intake on a B9 S4?
I mean, they have, well, B9, I'm trying to remember if those are kicked on by default now. We have so many generations of that. It won't like enable them. It will sharpen up what is already there. So yeah, if you're hearing like 0 right now, then no, you're like not likely going to be hearing crackles and pops and bangs just from swapping around some exhaust components in there. You know, with a tune, with them enabled and turned on and turned up, then yeah, you'll get a lot sharper snap out of it typically. Yep.
How are you guys feeling about B10 development? Does it seem like it will be a good platform? I'm feeling good about it. I'm excited. It's still very early on, and you know, there's not a lot of cars out there yet, but we are starting developments and working on some products. The car is actually very good out of the box, especially when it comes to suspension and handling.
It is surprisingly capable feeling.
Honestly, the car, I hate to say this, doesn't need anything. It's not like bad in any way. Can we improve it? Sure. We improved a Gen 1 R8. That car didn't need anything either, but
Gen 1.5, but yeah.
Yeah, Gen 1 and all the Gen 1 stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the springs, the shocks, the suspension tuning, the handling, is minimal body roll right out the box. So and also in the power department, it's also a very quick car, really nice power, broad power band. You know, we'll obviously be able to improve on that, and it will be very interesting playing with the variable geometry turbo. So it's a very potent platform, and I think it'll be really fun to start, you know, playing with these cars in the next year or two. I know that there's a lot of controversy out there. You know, our car's been great. There's some MMI bugs that need to be corrected with a flash update. Not a big deal. All the kind of the new MMI tech needs, you know, some updates at some point. So I don't know. The cars are very controversial. There's a lot of negativity towards the Audi brand right now. I don't really get it. Yeah, could the key fob be a little nicer? Sure. Could the airbag cover on the steering wheel be less plasticky? Sure, but I don't know.
The fin
That's not why I buy
overall
cars.
is really
The
solid.
fin finish is great. I actually like the MMI system. I think they've really improved it.
It's a lot of screens, but it's literally everything these days. It's a lot of screens.
Yeah, so I think it's a great car. I hope more people embrace them, but you know, with tariffs and stuff, the European auto manufacturers are getting their butts kicked right now. I think Volkswagen's losing a couple $2 billion a year, so they're pulling back. Mercedes is pulling back. Audi's pulling back. So I hope you know, that 15% tariff, something can be done about that at some point. it's hurting the European cars in the U.S. And I personally love European cars.
Yeah,
We're
kind of fans.
I'm not switching over to the big three anytime soon. I'm not a big fan of Japanese cars either. They're fine. All the cars I love are basically German. So I haven't heard anything specifically about how Porsche is being affected, but they must be. But yeah, no, I mean, B10's a great car. If you are in the market for one, I strongly recommend considering it. Do lowering springs for the B9 make the car smoother when it drives? It depends what you mean by smoother. I will say our springs for the B9, and we strive for this on all platforms, ride very nice. The ride is not crashy or overly stiff. You're not going to feel the car bottoming out all the time. So I would say it's as smooth as stock. Maybe you can consider smoother in some ways, as it will feel a little bit tighter and more controlled. But you will notice that the car has been lowered. It will feel sportier. You'll be feeling the road more. The spring is stiffer. It's going to transmit more of the road irregularities back, through to the steering wheel, and in the chassis dynamics. So, but our goal is to make that spring totally livable on the street, as well as perform really well on the track. And we can bring this up. I don't know, maybe you guys heard Ben Collins, the Stig from Top Gear, drove one of our B9 S4s at Laguna Seca and has a whole video shoot that's posted on YouTube. So if you go to Ben Collins YouTube, I believe it's the latest video that he's posted. It was dropped last Sunday, so a week ago Sunday. But yeah, he talks a lot about not only our springs and handling on the B9, but about the whole car in general. The tuning, the car had our Stage 3 Plus kit on it. So he had a lot of great things to say, thankfully, and he really liked the car. And it's also a very entertaining video. I'd recommend checking it out.
Yep. Oh, that was a blast.
Are you guys going to be at SEMA this year? Yes. In fact, most of us are flying out after this, and we'll be there for most of the week. We will be meeting with our suppliers, industry contacts, influencers, marketing,
lots of our
people.
vendors, lots of networking. Generally, the show is kind of just a background to meeting up with people. So we're generally not there looking for booth setups or anything.
I think I've been going since 01. I'm going quite a long time. Probably my 24th year or something. What ride height do you recommend for the 2018 Audi S5? I have coilovers. In general, I would say don't go much lower than 1 inch below stock, but it really depends. If you have a coilover, it depends on the shock. Yeah. So if I would say follow the recommendation of the suspension that you have. But every suspension is going to be optimized for a certain range of height. And if you lower it too much, the shock's going to be out of its kind of middle range where you want it to be. So that means it'll be much closer to bottoming out than it will be the other way. And you never want your suspension to bottom out. But the shock can only compress so far. I just heard someone using 991 GT3 injectors on the B8.5 S4 platform.
You can put all kinds of injectors here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, there are some that are physically close in dimensions and can sort of be made to work. The other issue you come across, though, is that's not the only limiting factor on that platform. You've got a high-pressure supply system that is also pretty tapped out. So there's not a lot of headroom that injectors get you either. And we've played with a bunch of combinations, both with some of those OEM options and modified aftermarket stuff. Was there anything else then, other than just they heard of somebody doing it? Okay.
Just a plain statement. How big is the difference and stage 1 and stage 2 on the B8 S4.
Pretty substantial because it's a, you know, unlike some of the other stages where it's kind of like you remove a slight restriction or something in a turbocharged car. This is actually just altering the level of boost available to you on a supercharged motor. So it is, you know, a very substantive change. You get into the point of diminishing returns later on, but stage 2 I think is really where these kind of shine. Is you blend that balance of efficiency and power and reliability and temperature management and all that stuff that you're always kind of weighing the odds with. But yeah, it's a really solid setup. You can see the power differences on our website. We've got all the octanes available for both, all the options available for both. So kind of a no-brainer. You can do crank or supercharger pulley as well to get there.
Mm-hmm. How has SEMA changed since you first attended 20 plus years ago?
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot different in some ways. It's the same in the others. In other ways, it's the same in that every company comes. There's tons of cool cars to look at. You can meet with virtually every company in the industry there. I will say the biggest. I talk about this, but by far the biggest difference is the amount and number of booth babes has plummeted.
That was a hallmark
oh my God.
situation. That
I would say in
10 years ago, maybe
the early 2010s, there was just gorgeous, beautiful, scantily clad girls in models or whatever in every booth. Just about every company had them. And it was actually pretty distracting to be at SEMA and try to walk around and think about anything other than just TNA in your face the whole time. The wheel and tire hall was the best, or the
most prolific.
Most prolific. If that's what you like, you could say it was the best. I do tend to like that kind of stuff, so I enjoyed it. But it was the wheel and tire hall was like over the top. Yeah. I always loved the booths that had like beautiful girls dressed nicely, you know, like in business suits or nice dresses or whatever. I always appreciated that. The super scantily clad stuff was a little cringy. But that all got kind of canceled, and I would say the late 2010 era. I would say
there was the big SEMA reduction in like the 08, 09 years.
Well, I think it was more of a Me Too movement thing, where it was just like, oh, that's chauvinistic that you can't have girls, you know, dressed in bikinis selling car parts. That's offensive, and maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not in control of any of this stuff, so I think a lot of it went away. There's pretty much none. I mean, there's very little now.
Yeah.
There are women there who are working and who are maybe hired to be sales reps. I think a lot of the companies will hire models to kind of be in the booth, but they'll be dressed nicely. That's probably the biggest change. And then
from a appearance standpoint.
And then I think through COVID, I think a lot of companies realized like we can have a booth and we don't have to spend $15,000 on models in bikinis, so we're just going to save that money, you know. And they realized they didn't need to do that. It wasn't really.
It was just fluff.
The cars are the funniest thing. Just like clothing, you see these trends come through. Honestly, I mean, 15, 20 years ago, SEMA was. I liked the style and trend of cars, and maybe it speaks to my age and my formative years, but there was race cars, there was high performance cars, and then with the whole stance hella flush movements,
the Liberty Walk movement.
Really there was Liberty Walk was after, but there was like the kind of 2010 to 2015. Everything was on airbags, everything was dumped, everything was tucked, everything had huge wheels. There was way too much camber, and then the Liberty Walk years. I would say maybe like 2016, where like every car had bolt-on fender flares. Every car had to have it. If you didn't have bolt-on fender flares, they wouldn't let you.
I'm trying to remember the time if RWB was before or post.
The what?
The raw welt built stuff. The port like the mob of
that was before.
RWBs
So RWB was probably like 2012 to 2015 that really came out. Then Liberty Walk took advantage of that and made bolt-on fenders for everything, so everyone could feel like they were RWBing their car. And then there's now there's a lot of big trucks. The Rotoser stuff is prolific. A lot of the race car stuff is just replaced by like 10 feet tall trucks with 30-inch billet wheels and just ridiculousness.
Thankfully, there's still some fun cars that like race car things there. But
There's
yes,
still
it
some
is.
big
It
cars.
is. There's a lot of trucks, a lot of big, crazy machinery.
But these days, I'm lucky if I can walk away with like 4 or 5 cars where I'm like, those are cars that I like. Most of the stuff is just so over the top and gaudy. So yeah.
Yeah, what else changed wise? The booths in general. I feel like the OEMs used to have massive booths, like a substantial chunk of some of the show floors. That's been reduced a lot. Now it'll be like one kind of premier OEM brand will take there's like a raised portion of the stage that kind of lends itself to being one big booth. But then there's not really another out there to compete with it. So
I think most companies are realizing that spending a lot of money on your SEMA booth is not really money well spent. And no company is just flush with cash these days to kind of like just.
If there's no return that you're getting from something like that.
I think when companies are doing really well and they're like, let's just pump our chest and show our pride for our brand and have a huge ridiculous booth. But when money's tighter, it doesn't make sense. Cool, fun question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing a whistling sound coming from under the hood when I'm in throttle with no boost on a B9.5. What could it be?
PCV.
That sounds like either PCV issue. Could be the water pump issue.
Oh, if it's got a busted vacuum line or vacuum setup,
You should definitely do a vacuum test and check your PCV. I'd start there. Can I run a crank pulley on stage 285 with your tune or only supercharger pulley CREC engine 3.0?
Either it's all about the ratio.
Yeah.
So you're looking at whatever the pulley ratio is between the top and the bottom. How you get there can be either pulley. You could get really spunky with it and upsize the supercharger and and do an even bigger lower. It's just a math problem. So you take the diameter of the lower pulley and divide it by the upper pulley to get your ratio. That's it. It's up to you.
Audi Q7 4M street density motor mounts has a lot of NVH. Can this be related to installation issue? Recommendations? Well, I have these same exact mounts in my car. I just drove to work here with them. There is some NVH. I would not say it's a lot. I would say it's very subtle at idle that you can feel it. I have a water bottle that I put in the door pocket, and that will rattle sometimes, like a little bit, if I don't have it sitting in there in the right way. But I don't know. I would definitely say there shouldn't be that much NVH. To say it has a lot is not normal. So I'm not sure what about your installation could be messed up, but it could be worth looking into it. But it shouldn't have that much vibration. How much do your lowering springs lower the Gen 1 R8? Love that it's performance oriented, but drop is not noticeable in pictures. It's minimal. Our website quotes about a 1/2 inch in the front and about 1 inch in the rear. So it is visibly lower after the install. But that car already is pretty low from the factory. So there's not a lot of room to lower. What we're doing is getting the right height and the stance or the rake, dialed in, so it has a little bit of negative rake going, towards the front, and then we're making the springs stiffer to optimize their stiffness in relation to what the factory shocks can do. So it's definitely lower. It does look good. And then if you combine that with, bigger wheels, we have our 20-inch wheels for the R8, and then our wheels bring the wheel and tire out into the fender more. They don't rub, but it visually reduces that gap, because not only do you have the gap here, but you have a gap here. And even if you're flush, if the wheel is inset, it doesn't look right. So bringing that wheel out, you can use, if you're committed to using this factory wheels, you can use probably like a 10 mil or 15 mil spacer to bring that out more. You have to check. Don't quote me on the exact thickness. But yeah, no, they are lower, but you wouldn't want to go any lower than we lower it. That would ruin the ride and make the car stiff.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is yes, it's performance oriented, but it is a very functional. There's a functional limit where going beyond a certain point is literally a negative performance gain. Like you start ruining some of the characteristics of it without positioning some of the actual geometry within the suspension itself. So yeah, there's only so much you can lower, whether it's visual or not, where you start hindering performance even lower than stock.
Yeah. Drew Burke says, "Bring back booth babes." I'm with you, Drew. I mean, why not? And they get paid too. It's a good job, Everyone needs some good, honest work these days.
Yeah, I hit the one right above that. It's kind of lighting up right now.
What's that?
Yeah, the question right above that.
Oh.
I just highlighted it.
What do you guys think about Marshall Roles B8.5 S4 with the built 3.2 plus Pro Charger on your tuning software burning down to the ground? Oh my god.
He just sent
I didn't know about this. Hopefully competitors don't blame your tuning cars that they burnt down.
Yeah,
well, our tunes don't light cars on fire.
No, that is obviously a mechanical something, let go and even knows what. He doesn't know yet.
Even if we set out to create a tune that could burn cars down, I don't know how we would do that.
Right. But no, it sucks. Like Marshall
cars do burn. Does he know what happened?
No, he just sent me a picture of it this morning, and then I just saw he posted about it on Facebook. It sucks. Like he just got the thing back up. We were just starting to get back into the swing of getting it dialed in again and with the new setup. And
it's almost all.
Didn't even get a revision out to him yet. I got some logs to go over this morning, and then this.
Usually a fuel line or something.
Usually, but it could be power steering or fuel or, or oil or who knows what. It's all speculation, but it's.
Oh, that's a bummer. I'm sure he'll build it back up better than ever, but that's brutal.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my screen. I was just looking.
I saw that. I saw you were looking at it. I didn't know what it was. And I was like, oh god. Never good to see a car having burned
crispy
down.
crittered.
Yeah. And thankfully he's okay.
He's fine. As far as I've seen or heard, he's fine. It was just.
Can we get offset options on the 0 through 4 wheels? We do not offer offset options per se, but all of our wheels are designed with specific offsets for the application or platform to create an optimized fit without spacers. In some cases, you may have to use a spacer, but we always strive to have, like I was just talking about, a flush fitment in the fender without a spacer to offer the best fitment and most clearance on both sides of the fender and the strut. So that's kind of a feature is no, you can't get offsets. Just about every other wheel company just sells random wheels with whatever offset that happens to fit on your car. But we design these wheels to fit these cars.
If it sort of fits and if it doesn't, grossly rub on stuff, then they'll ship it.
A lot of questions today. Just put your rear sway bar on. How often should I grease it and make it still tightened?
Make sure it's still tightened, I think.
Tightened up as I drive it very hard on my RS3. So it depends. If your bar came with our Teflon bushings, then you do not grease that ever. If your bar came with brackets with greasable Zerk fittings, I would say probably grease those every time you do an oil change. Certainly if you hear any kind of squeaking, then get on there and grease it. It really depends. Like the grease will last longer in the summer than in the winter. The water does get in there and does break it down. Even though the grease is water resistant, water is just really good at washing things away. It's the universal solvent. But I don't think you got to be careful. If you do it too much, you'll start getting grease kind of squeezing out the sides, which you can clean up. But you just don't want to over grease it and leave all that grease there. But I would say every time you do an oil change, should be good.
As far as loosening up, it shouldn't. The hardware shouldn't be loosening. Make sure it's installed and torqued properly, and you're using good hardware.
As long as it's torqued properly, no issues there. But it can't hurt to check if you're worried about it. Sometimes hardware does fall out of sway bar installations, but it's almost always because it wasn't torqued properly.
Yeah, it should. It certainly shouldn't.
Yeah. Oh man, we got some R8 questions this week, which is awesome. We'd love to do more R8 stuff. We have a really good program for the R8s. Yeah. This gentleman says, where did that question go?
It's number 6 is what you're talking about?
Okay, yeah. Picking up an R8 in a couple weeks. Congrats. And we'll be using some of your guys' products. Anything to look out for? On the R8s, they're pretty good cars. Dude, ironically, they're just...
rigs. You're going to use a lot of oil and oil changes.
Yeah, they're not super cheap to maintain, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're good, solid cars. I never had any issues with mine when I had it for.
I mean, it's all
4 years.
The normal maintenance stuff for. Yeah. I mean, if you've got a V8 or V10, they're going to need the carbon cleanings and things from time to time.
Carbon cleaning, yeah, I want to do that.
But that's, I mean, not unique to the R8 in any way.
I think the factory. If I was looking at a car, I would carefully inspect or drive the shocks to see those do tend to go out. They're probably
the mag ride stuff.
Yeah, they're not, I wouldn't say they're problematic, but maybe one of the most,
without knowing any of the mileage or history on it, it's tough to.
But I would love to see you go with our whole product line: springs, sway bars, end links. We have inserts. We have a really good package for those, and it does really transform the way the car drives and handles. It dials a lot of the push out and makes the car very neutral. We spend a lot of time on track developing, especially the springs and sway bars, and they are really, really good. We also have a really nice camber shim kit as well. Yep. That works great. So you dial in some camber, like 1.5, 2 degrees all around, and then add up all our suspension stuff. The thing is going to be handling on rails. Anything else we want to jump on? We got time.
Somebody's asking how much fuel do burbles actually use. That depends on when and how they're being lit off, RPMs and all that. But it's not a lot. I mean, you're literally firing into a cylinder that's making 0 / negative power. Like it's not a lot to make just a little.
Probably not a lot more than at idle.
I'd say the same or less as on idle in most situations.
Yeah, keep in mind the more power you make, the more fuel you use, and when you're burbling, you're not making any power.
It will translate to like on. It is a very late event, ignition event. So all of that, what fuel is being combusted in a pretty late stage in the chamber. So it will raise your EGTs quite quickly, dependent on compared to like normal high load operation where you're using a lot more fuel. This is using less fuel, but will get you higher EGTs pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So still some energy in there. Let's see. We got a lot of questions.
Is it even worth it to go stage 2 from stage 1 on a daily B8.5 S5 in terms of power and reliability?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're looking for more power than stage 1, stage 2 is the way to go.
Yeah, especially if you've maxed out stage 1, you've got the heat exchanger on there, you've got an intake on there. Stage 2 will be it's a really nice all-around bump and very, I'd say, where the car really shines for a daily driver.
Yeah. Any tips on getting the B9 RS5 to rotate better in tight corners? Even with 0-3/4 suspension mods, it still wants to push a bit up front.
I mean, it is fundamentally still an Audi, but alignment will go a long way.
Yeah, it'd be good to know what suspension mods you have. Front camber will give the car a lot more bite in the front. We do have adjustable arms for that.
Yeah. And rear toe settings will help quite a bit mid-corner.
Yeah. Yeah, alignment settings will also help. But if you want to follow up with more, but if you can add 1.5 to 2 degrees of camber up front, you're gonna love the way that car turns and bites on turn in. You're just gonna get a lot more grip up front, and it will really reduce any pushing that you have. Also, put your sway bar on the stiffest
In the rear.
rear setting on the stiff, and the front on a softer setting. How much boost are you guys able to run on B9s in Colorado looking for a tune with the most amount of power?
We will maximize what is available. Essentially, it's not a. I mean, Colorado, you could be 5,000 feet or 14,000 feet. There's not a boost level that's going to work between those. So
and the most boost is not always the best.
And the most boost isn't always the best. So
for power.
We do a bunch of elevation testing here, and then we've got a bunch of customers in Colorado that have validated it. But we're going to get the most efficient compromise we can out of what the turbo can provide for your given fuel and elevation. So it's not a number, but we're asking everything we can. But there's not really anything left on the table in these setups that would get you any more power than what we're asking for, especially at elevation. Hopefully that answers what you're looking for, but yeah, it's all based on we talk when we're calibrating in terms of pressure ratio mostly. So it's how much air is at the front of the turbo, the inlet of the turbo, to what it's going to basically multiply that by, the ratio that it's going to multiply that by on the outlet. So as you go up in altitude, that whole set of numbers starts sliding down.
Oh, what happened to that one that was talking about had just switched?
Oh, I didn't see one that was just.
Number 9.
Oh, God, okay.
Yeah.
Manual B8.5 here. Recently switched from APR because I had to go to test pipes due to my cats failing. Stage 193. Car feels amazing, especially with the lower temps up here in Canada. Great work, guys.
Awesome.
Glad you're happy. Yeah. Well, hopefully the other gentleman who was thinking about switching heard that. Appreciate the feedback. Do you want to do number 1? I don't know much about that.
What do we got? I don't either. I was trying to find some stuff. It's not.
Sure.
I mean, it's just it's not something. Somebody's asking. They've got a E8.5 4-liter. Asking about. It's an interesting question because they're criticizing the complexity, the simplicity, and the complexity of the system. So, just if there's any chronic issues with the Audi 48-volt alternator and their complexities.
I haven't heard of anything.
I don't think it's that widespread. I did some research quick here. It is definitely a thing, but it hasn't really popped up on our radar much, and I don't think we've seen on our service side anything come through either. So I'm not sure if it's a climate-related, exacerbation or what. But in general, the 4 liters have been pretty solid setups that we've seen with all the same. Maintenance needs and Achilles heels as some of the other like V6 counterparts.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call the E8.5 a simpler motor than the E8.24 either. Pretty much the same-ish platform.
Yeah. Any simple mods to bump the power of a Gen 1 R8 a bit? Not looking to add forced induction yet. Not a lot. They're normally aspirated. There are some tunes out there, but I don't think they do much. They're probably exaggerated on the power increase. Aside from going, with like a VF Engineering supercharger kit or something like that. I think there's some turbo kits out there too, but that's a totally different beast. But no, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, they have very good flowing intakes, good flowing exhausts from the factory. I think you can change the exhaust. I don't think there's much power there, though.
Number 9 is
Team, I have a stage 1 ECU-TC tune with you guys for my B9 S5. I got some exhaust error code that I sent in, but only had one response and then ghosted. Who could I talk
Certainly
to?
shouldn't have been ghosted. So
No.
we'll ping our customer service side and see where that's at. But stage one, I mean, that's set up to work with stock exhaust systems. So we've had a couple of interesting combinations of cars come through that have modified their exhausts and removed some flaps, and we've had a couple of cars that have behaved a little differently than we expect when there's exhaust flaps that are not in the system. I don't know if that's this case, but you should, regardless, you certainly shouldn't have been ghosted in any way. So we will have to see if a message was missed or something like that.
The DMS.
Yeah, I'm going to say respond to your current ticket and light us up again. But
definitely respond if you haven't already.
We'll take a look at it. No, there's no ghost bucket that we put tickets we don't want to answer into.
Have you considered a 034 university program to provide more in-depth training on product install and platform optimization?
We did some local ones for the Audi Club a while back.
Yeah, tech seminars.
We did some tech seminars. Yeah, we set up like a little classroom in our shop, and myself and a handful of other employees here gave kind of a really detailed rundown on how we did design some of the stuff, what went into it, what some of the considerations were when we were developing it, and how it all worked together.
Yeah, I mean that sounds really cool. We just don't have time to do anything like that.
Yeah, it's really nice too, and we obviously we're doing this. We like sharing that. This is essentially what is now. If you've got detailed tech info you want to know, hit us up. We'll do our best to answer it. But yeah, we have before.
We've done some, but our time is just completely filled with.
I want to say that was like
everything
before
else
I had kids, before I had 16 different places to be on the weekend.
Well, and it sucked. Even then, we would spend so much time preparing, and then one of them, I think there was like 10 people.
That was the other thing, is getting people to actually, finding enough nerds in the same place to show up and enjoy that kind of a talk was difficult as well. Because, we spent a lot of time getting it all together, getting presentations ready, setting up, coming in on the weekend, getting it all set up in the service bays.
Hey guys, on a TTRS DNWA, would it make sense to upgrade the camshafts from a DAZA that was a bit more aggressive on the exhaust side after a race cat downpipe or an OPF delete? It's really hard to say. I have not. I know a lot of guys have debated this back and forth on the forums. I am not. I don't have the technical depth on that exact swap to give you a yes or no. Yeah. Yeah, and in general, with any of those, a turbo upgrade is going to get you a lot more power, but with more lag. So
and we don't generally put a lot of, unless it's a supported setup that we're going to start pushing through market. All of these custom kind of parts combinations and stuff are really hard to kind of occupy all of our brain space with when we've got all of the kits and stock configurations we're working on as well. So if there's a valid path, obviously like the turbocharger upgrades or the kits that we're working on, we can certainly speak to that stuff. But unfortunately, I don't have all the resources for all the combos out there.
Well, someone's asking, why would I rather go B9 S4 Stage 1 with 034 over Jackal? I don't know what Jackal offers. I thought that they just offered basically custom tuning, or they send you a file, then you have to do logs and they update it, but maybe they have a production file now. We have had a production file on the market since 2022 that we've updated and optimized a number of times, always making improvements and making it better the more we know and learn. Our tune has been engineered over years. So these aren't custom tunes done kind of more like a tuner shop. We have a team of engineers and calibrators that create these files, test them. Our tunes are off the shelf because they're so good. A tune, to be able to be sold off the shelf, has to be calibrated and designed and engineered in an optimal way to account for all the variables that it will see to run well. And our tuning does that. We also offer mobile flashing. Our SPI app allows you to conveniently flash using your phone. You can do logs on your phone. You can create a virtual dashboard in your car. lots of features and functionality.
It's a diagnostic center. You can do
Yeah.
all your faulty checks and stuff. You can upload logs directly to our support team for whatever health checks or confirmations you want done.
Yeah, and then if all that wasn't enough, simply put, the quality of our tuning is simply superior. We do not disable safety systems. We don't come out with false information about our tunes, telling customers that we're not doing certain things, but we really are. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, you can Google or check out our Jackal fact check video, which is on our YouTube channel. And we basically break down one of their tunes and go through and show a lot of the false information that they've put out about their tunes and how they haven't really been honest. So check all that out. But we definitely have the better tuning. Another question here, someone's asking, how many current tune users do you have on the B9 platform? Well, we wouldn't ever say that specifically because that's very proprietary information, but it's many thousands of customers running our B9 tuning. It's impossible to know for sure, but we believe
it's very possible to know for sure.
No, let me finish my sentence, please. Always interrupting me.
Always.
It's impossible to know for sure, but we believe we have more B9 3.0T customers than anyone else on the market.
Why didn't you just say that before?
I was trying. So, all right. Let's see. We got 8 more minutes. What do we think? I want to buy a stage 1 tune from you all, but I don't know where.
But yeah, I saw that. Our website's a great place to start.
You can buy from our website or from any of our dealers. Our tunes are also sold by many companies like ECS Tuning, Euro Tuning. Lots of companies sell our tunes.
Awesome GTI. Yeah, it depends where you're at.
Yeah, it depends on where you're at. But you can purchase it on our site too. We also have a dealer locator on our site. If you go to our homepage and go to the very bottom of the homepage, you can click on the dealer locator and find out there. For popular turbo tunes like B9 S4 or Mark 7 GTI, any chance of a minimum boost tune like a valet tune? You could write one for the lowest grade fuel. Would like to buy a GTI for my 18-year-old, but would like to reduce its power. Yeah, I can relate as my 18-year-old as well, as in a 2.0T.
A nerdy technical response, though, I will say that octane rating and boost level are not the same thing. So we don't just raise the boost because we have more octane. You can run the same level of boost on very different octane fuels and have very different performance levels if you're optimizing for the octane. And yeah, generally you can't go down in octane just because you're running lower boost. So just keep that in mind. But as far as a teenager mode,
it would be nice. It's just not our business.
Yeah.
Our business isn't making people or protecting people from fast cars.
Yeah, it's always easy to flash to the stock calibration from our stuff as needed. That is always an option, through your phone.
In the old days, on the 1AT days, I would just say unplug the boost solenoid valve.
I mean, you can still do that. You get fault codes galore, and just like you did then.
Yeah, but it's just not our business. But I would love that for my son as well.
I know a guy that can set you up.
Yeah, and then the other issue is whenever we do a new calibration, we have to support it, and there's a lot of file maintenance and computer maintenance stuff that has to be done to every file. So adding a file is not a free lunch. It's a lot of work to maintain. It's kind of like saying, why don't you get another dog? It's just one more dog, and they eat their own, and it's like, no, that's a lot. It adds a lot of work. It has to be maintained. So, or like another car, even if you don't drive it, it has to be maintained. Just added your stage 1 93 octane, stage 2 stage 1 ECU, stage 2 TCU to my otherwise bone stock B9 SQ5. What a blast.
Awesome.
I'm getting ready to install all your inserts, waiting on subframe, sway bars and end links, and a front mount intercooler. and your coil pack plugs. I think intake with turbo inlet and high pressure fuel pump next.
Dang, nice.
Cool. It's fun to see your excitement. You're having fun. You're enjoying the products. That's exactly why we do this. Thank you so much for getting it and doing this with us. Really looking forward to see where you go with it.
Yeah, and those SQ5s I think are probably one of the most underrated rigs on the
They
road right
are.
now. That's insane what you can do with those.
They handle really well.
Yeah.
Way better than they should. I'm always shocked at how big they are, or how well they handle.
Yep.
Could a bad trans insert on a B8 S4 translate to loud thudding coming from underneath the cars past 4,000 RPMs at around 10 to 70 miles per hour? It only happens under load. No.
What you're
I mean,
describing sounds like a center prop shaft support. Or center drive bearing. If I had to super quickly hazard a guess here.
yeah, but no, even if the insert broke in half and fell out, you'd still just have your stock transmission mount, so.
Did they say insert or mount? I think they just said.
I think he said insert.
Oh, I can't undo that. Okay. Yeah. No. If it was an insert, then no. Unless, failing means the bolt fell out and
Yeah.
you're not connected anymore to your mount.
Well, then that would be a whole nother problem.
But yeah. If it's like a rhythmic RPM based thudding, could be there something in your center drive shaft. It's really tough to remote diagnose that kind of stuff.
Yeah, start by just getting under the car and taking a look and seeing what you find.
Yep.
Been looking at a 2018 plus Tiguan for daily driver. Been looking into them and seeing some oil consumption and cylinder head problems. Have you guys been noticing this through ZTF? Any future developments planned for Tiguan's tuning suspension? So my son also has a 2018, and he does have to add some oil to it. It's not a big deal. He probably has to add 1 quart a month or something like that with him, and he drives a lot. I don't know. It's pretty common with Audis.
That's not that abnormal.
My Q7, I'm adding about half a quart a month, and this is with a new motor that we just put in. So it wouldn't stop me from owning one. It's been a great car for him, and it was a good deal. And as far as for him, he does a lot of fishing and camping and backpacking, and it's been a great car. He's taken it up in the mountains and driven on fire roads with it, and he's
got all his freedom.
Yeah, he's living life with it, and it's been a great car. Like a Golf or a GTI, I wouldn't be able to do that for him, or a Prius or something like that. So as far as products, we do have a lift kit for those, which is really cool. You can check out our website, and it lifts the car, I think, 2 inches. And he had that on there for a while, and was really enjoying it. We took it off to test some other suspension stuff, so he keeps asking when we're going to put it back on because he really liked it. But
those secret spots.
yeah, overall been a good car. I would encourage you to get one. I don't know about the cylinder head issues you're talking about.
Yeah, and the motor's not really any different than
No, it's the same motor as
the GTI stuff.
everything else, but yeah, I would say the oil consumption issue isn't any different than any other Volkswagen or Audi, so, and it's really not a big deal. Can you guys help with number 6? Should be on our website. Anything else we should jump on? We got 1 minute.
Somebody's asking about B5 S4 shifting.
Do you guys have a solution for B5 S4 hard shifting to second gear? It's probably something to do with the linkage. I would recommend JHM Motorsport. They have probably the most stuff for the B5 shifter solutions. Give them that's literally how they got started doing that.
Someone's asking, does the Stage 1 tune for my B9 SQ5 actually save fuel? I mean, it shouldn't, normal driving conditions shouldn't ever use anything more than stock, for sure. We do spend a lot of time optimizing, and you can make the argument too, if you go with like a fully optimized Stage 1 setup, you've got a freer flowing, more efficient engine now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you will just, by the laws of physics, use less fuel to make the same amount of power to get you down the road. So there is some merit to that. The higher octane stuff, in theory, we can get more energy out of the given amount of fuel there. So that's potentially also a gain. But it should be as good as stock minimum.
Yeah. Well, I think we're out of time. Thank you for joining us this week. Appreciate all the questions. I think we will see you next week. Same. No.
Nope.
No, I'm out next Monday. Maybe we'll do it later in the week.
Okay.
Maybe
Well,
Wednesday.
stay tuned. We'll try and announce when we're going to do it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Have a good week.
Take care.